All right, GM. About to get this started. All right, we're looking good.
GM.
All right, we're good. The stream is up. Welcome, everyone. A very good morning to anybody on the West Coast. Good afternoon to anybody on the East Coast, and a good evening to all the Europeans out there and anyone further east. This is, of course, the big CloneX Treasury Mint Vial Reveal Day. Just, about 24, 48 hours left to reveal any eggs and CloneX Mint Vials, so left this to the last minute. Of course, if you're not familiar with what's going on, just a quick recap. Benito, one of the Artifact founders, graciously decided to donate some vials, mint vials, to the CloneX Treasury. I was lucky enough to take receipt of those earlier last week. And here we are. It's time to reveal them. It was subject of some debate what to do with the vials, just to give everyone full disclosure what the deal is. It was either sell them or reveal them and put them in the treasury. Of course, with the way the timeline kind of worked out, I had to kind of went ahead with opening them rather than selling them. I don't know if all 5 would sell at a good price as quickly as I could. So here we are. We made a decision to open them up. All 5 clones will go into the treasury, and then we'll have a little discussion as to what to do with them later. But in the meantime, cross your fingers. Hopefully we get some good ones. All right, I won't delay this any further. It's time to begin the vial opening. If you haven't seen this before, well, this is the last chance. Let's do it. Here we are on the CloneX.artifact.com website. Gonna see I have 5 vials here to reveal. I'm gonna click on the vial. All right, just submitted the transaction. All right, I think that was the approval. Now I have to actually do the actual reveal transaction. So I don't think you guys can see my MetaMask window, but I'm currently submitting some more transactions. So just hang tight.
Yeah. Let's go. Anyway, it's a vibe to reveal clones.
I'm glad to have you guys here. Let's go. All right, submitted another transaction. I don't know if there's going to be 5 of these or if all 5 are going to open at once, but here we go. First one's away.
Let's go.
No, there's only, okay, going to be one at a time. So here comes the first clone. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's
Here we go. Here we go.
Let's go.
Okay, it's asking me for another transaction. I think it's going to show all 5 after I submit the 5. So let's just... I'm going to complete another one. All right, transaction number 2 has been submitted. Probably got to do 3 more. Hang tight.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Shoutouts to everybody here. BK, Curated Pixels, El Diablo, JJ Crypto, Kion, and Nap all in the chat. Thank you for joining us today.
Shout out to you, Preds.
Shoutouts, BK, number 1 support.
It's that image.
All right, pending, still waiting to be processed by the Ethereum network. This isn't Solana after all. It takes a few seconds.
Another one. I don't know. Bobo didn't make it. Participate.
Yeah, I guess maybe the time of day was not ideal.
Time? Oh, fuck.
I think he's on the East Coast. I thought lunch hour would be okay. I tried to do, usually if you've noticed Artifact, whenever they had announcements or whatever, debuts, reveals,
Yeah.
it would always arrive around 12 o'clock Eastern, around lunch hour. So I kind of chose that time, and I felt it would be a good time for the European audience to kind of be involved. So shout outs to everybody who made it. Shout outs to Layer who just joined in the chat. Let's complete the last few transactions.
I tagged him in the channel, but it's not there.
Okay, transaction number 4 away. One more to go.
Wow.
The replay will be available on YouTube as well, so if anybody missed it, they can just watch this on YouTube. Shout out to the replay gang. Okay, here we go.
5-5.
Wah, wah. I mean, this first one's alright, I guess.
First one is very cool.
This one's clean and simple, I'd say.
Very clean. Also, the second is very clean. I mean, color-wise.
Got at least an angel out of it. Well, there you have it, guys. 5 new clones to join the treasury.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right, shout out to everybody who joined. I was also going to spend a few minutes recapping the CTO if anybody wants to leave some feedback. We're also going to do maybe a series of voice chats in the coming week or weeks, maybe a Twitter Spaces or so as well, where we can gather everyone's feedback. Of course, we have a dedicated CTO channel in the Discord that you can go and read the CTO white papers at, and you can leave your feedback in there as well. There's quite a bit of feedback already submitted by some of the holders, so all of that is being taken into consideration. A lot to cover, so we're going to do kind of like a summarized version here so I don't keep you guys for too long. Let's move it over.
Interior.
All right, I'm back. I think my Discord froze there for a moment. All right, I realize if I share my Discord, there might be a little bit of an echo, so I'm just going to leave it on this screen. And I'm going to open up the white paper over here, actually, so just give me a second. All right, let's do this.
I didn't realize the last Murakami DNA was revealed among those clones that were not available. I mean, metadata were not available. Just saw it now. Did you see it?
Oh, no kidding, eh? Let's just jump over there real quick and take a look.
And also a sick lonesome cowboy.
It doesn't appear on this side.
Yeah, go down. That one. Yeah, here.
This one. This one.
Oh, no. 87. Nearby.
Let me look
Yep,
here.
this one. Murakami DNA.
Oh, yes, it just appeared. You must have just refreshed.
Exactly.
Okay, let's
Pretty dope.
I wish I opened that one.
Yeah, I imagine. But also Lonesome Cowboy. It's a pretty dope one. I love Lonesome Cowboy trait.
The lonesome one's really good.
Yeah, I love them.
This
That
one,
is very good.
along with the Murakami eyes, is just perfect.
Very good. Very, very good.
Yeah, these are the recent reveals. You can see mine got expedited to the top of the list here. So you can see people are opening their vials. There's probably only a few hundred left now. There's been some good reveals, including I think this angel's pretty good. I know people don't like the eyebrows, but this is a cool angel reveal.
I love those eyebrows. I imagine people doesn't want to act now, but still I like them.
I agree. And I thought this was a pretty cool recent reveal.
It was very cool.
All right, let's get into the CTO white paper, and then people are more than welcome to leave some feedback, hop on the mic. This channel's got push to talk, which is a little annoying, but so be it. You might have to configure your push to talk to begin speaking. I asked Khan to remove it, but we'll see what happens. All right, Curated Pixels has a white paper as well, but I can't seem to access it right now. I imagine he'll restore it later. So there's two white papers here to review. I'm going to point out Curated Pixels' contribution as well. He made a very good white paper. His white paper has more to do with petitioning Nike Corp as a community to release more rights to the holders. So I think that's a path that's worth pursuing. He has a petition up. I'll show you guys right. CloneX.wtf. This is a good resource. If we go to CTO up here, yes, there's a draft letter here. Let's see if we can open that. Yes, so this excuse me, aims to make contact with the Nike Corp and petition on behalf of the holders that we can all individually sign off and send to them, maybe to see if Nike would be willing to provide us more rights as holders, release more of the IP rights, that sort of thing. So I do encourage you guys to check out this CloneX.wtf site. He has his white paper available here as a PDF. Oh, it's not going to open in my browser. What about here? Okay, right here. I see he has a new copy. I'm going to have to update the link in the Discord to reflect this one. I do encourage you guys to go over it. I'm not going to waste too much of your time today. I'm trying to go over some of this very quickly. But I do encourage you to check out Curated Pixels white paper. Like I said, his has more to do with restoring some of the rights to the clones. Worth checking out. All right, as for my white paper that I proposed here, I'd love to get your guys' feedback on. I'm sure I've got the wrong button bound for this one sec. All right. I presume most of you have already checked out this document. Let's see here. What is there to cover here? All right. So just to kind of quickly recap, we're all very disappointed, of course, that CloneX Artifact is coming to a close, but the assets are going to live forever on chain, and this is a new opportunity to do something different, right? Do something as more of a genuine Web3 collective effort. That is the remaining community. So there's a silver lining to this, and that's of course that we can leave behind the Nike era. The Artifact Nike era just led to a lot of frustrations, and so what we have here is an opportunity to do something different, right, guys? Let's see here. So one of the main things I want to, of course, point out to everybody, this part here is important. When reviewing the following proposals, please bear in mind we cannot seize control of the contract, the IP, or the royalties collected. Those are going to have to remain in the hands of Nike, and therefore we're going to refer to this as a soft CTO. We can't fully CTO this like a traditional Web3 brand. We can't just pass the torch or sell Artifact to someone else. Nike's probably going to choose to just shelve it and forget about it. We're going to have to kind of work within the confines of the existing IP agreement. So we're clones, and we're going to have to work around that. Some of the key objectives to the CTO will be transparency, communication, governance, and delivering value to clones, right? So aligning ourselves with the principles of Web3, trying to work on making a big effort to make communication effective and consistent. We had a big issue, I think, with Artifact, with how comms were done, delays and all that. We're trying to make things more streamlined in that regard. And of course, governance. We may, of course, formalize things with on-chain voting, with a DAO, thanks to some of the efforts of Curated Pixels. Or, in some cases, maybe like right now in the interim, before we have some of the DAO infrastructure set up, we're just going to have an open forum policy where we get feedback and input from every holder in a less formal approach through maybe, say, polls in the Discord. So we'll have a dedicated poll channel in the Discord where holders can leave feedback and vote on polls and vote on direction. All right, here's the meaty part of this. Phase 0, distance ourselves from all Artifact branding and leave behind majority of the Artifact ecosystem. Refocus and consolidate all efforts around CloneX and CloneX only. Put simply, we're going to rebrand ourselves around CloneX. We got to leave behind Artifact, the brand Artifact. That's a big part of the IP that Nike owns. Between the bad taste Artifact is left in Web3's collective mouth and the protected IP, I think Artifact's got to go. We are CloneX. Let's rebrand around CloneX. So that's the first part of the CTO proposal, is to rebuild around CloneX. Phase 1. So this is the immediate part that we can execute on. The official Artifact Discord doesn't belong to Nike. It belongs to Connie. Therefore, we, the new community leadership, will be taking control of the Discord. So he's open to having us take control of the Discord and kind of restructure things around here. So with that in mind, we're going to rename the server away from Artifact and rename it to something CloneX related. Based on initial feedback, most people are inclined to just rename the server CloneX. Okay, so we collectively are kind of shifting to CloneX. We're going to rename the server to CloneX, and so on. As part of this initiative, we're going to remove the artifact holders channel, server rules related to monolith, pod holders, Remoa hold, all the rules that you're all familiar with. We're going to get rid of that. Okay. As part of the consolidation effort, everything's going to kind of fold in under the main CloneX banner and the server role of CloneX holders. So as this says here, CloneX holders will be the only remaining token-gated general discussion channel in the Discord. Now, let's talk about the Twitter. So the official Artifact Twitter belongs to Nike. This isn't fully confirmed yet, but we should be able to access the Artifact creators' Twitter. In fact, you might have seen that Artifact isn't even posting many updates from the main Artifact Twitter account. I think this relates to that. So what I think is we should be able to have access to the Artifact creators Twitter as a CTO, which does have about 12,500 followers, so that's not insignificant. And I think this will be our springboard to continue communications, at least on the Twitter X front. With any luck, maybe we'll be able to rename the Artifact creators Twitter account to something different, such as I propose here, at Team CloneX, something CloneX related will be the rebranding of the Artifact creators Twitter account, and from that we'll be able to build and communicate with the wider Web3 space from there. All right, quickly recapping the first two phases. We're ditching Artifact branding, and we're moving toward solely Artifact branding. And to that end, we're also going to drop support or roles for all the other parts of the Artifact ecosystem and really consolidate and refocus entirely around clones and clone ownership. All right, this next part we call Phase 1. There's Phase 1A and Phase 1B, let's put it that way. Now, this is going to come down to a community vote. This is going to be a very sensitive topic for some people. This is going to be controversial, but I do think this is an important step. So, vital to our success, we will be restoring the damaged reputation of CloneX within Web3, and to that end, I propose an important symbolic gesture that will set the tone for the new clone era. The suggestion, of course, is to ban the founders from the Discord. This, of course, will be put up to a vote. So a founder excommunication will extend to a future DAO and or drip distribution. Founder clones and their wallets will be blacklisted from participating in governance and claiming any tokens. So put simply, we are considering removing, if not banning, the founders from the Discord, and even potentially blacklisting them from any future governance, the DAO, a drip token, and so on and so forth. I think this is an important message to kind of put out there, and a lot of clones have seemingly voiced support for this. Let me just cover a couple more items here. Former Artifact staff will have their team roles revoked. So if you look at any Artifact staff in the Discord, they currently have a role called team. We're going to remove that team role, and all the former staff are just going to become normal clone holders like the rest of us, barring a few exceptions. So the Artifact team server role will be replaced with Team CloneX role and assigned to select community clones directly involved with the CTO. Khan will remain server admin. Certain former Artifact staff, such as developers Yarlin Perez, who of course is heading up Project Phoenix. He's doing great work there, and he continues to seemingly develop on Project Phoenix. So I think it's only fair that individuals such as Yarlin are offered the new Team CloneX role if they choose to remain in development. This may be subject, of course, to Clone Council rules and all that. Maximoni as well. I've had some basic rapport with, and he's of course a developer. Like much of the staff, there's really no hard feelings toward most of the artifact team. We do have to, I feel, kind of shed the artifact team. We kind of want to make this a CTO that isn't built around former artifact staff. I think that's a very important thing for perceptions. But we don't want to eject everybody, and we have to be conscious of the fact that most of the team really put in a great effort, and they're always in our corner, and having them stay aboard in some type of development capacity, like in the case of Yarlin and Maximoni, would be a great addition, I think, to the CTO. So part of the future direction will be to probably offer them the team CloneX role, again subject to the Clone Council and your votes and all that, all the feedback. So, of course, no hard feelings for the founders, but throwing them under the bus will be an important message to send across the Web3. All right. So we call that 1.5a, but here's 1.5b. So if you're against the idea of ejecting the founders, if you think that's in bad taste, maybe you have something else to gain, here is the alternative proposal, because I don't want to just railroad people into one decision. I don't want to be overly biased. So here's an alternative, and that is to not eject the founders. Instead, we appeal to them for financial support to help fund the CTO and provide them an opportunity to rehabilitate their reputation through a meaningful contribution to the Treasury. To purge or not to purge the founders will be among the very first democratic actions taken. So what we're going to do is open up a poll sometime in the near future and get all the clones to provide feedback on this topic. Do you want to see the founders symbolically ejected from the project? Is the CTO better served by having the founders excommunicated? Is this an important message to send? I lean in that direction, but others are going to feel like, well, maybe we can benefit more from having the founders aboard. Maybe the founders can do more, especially if they can bring money to the table, right? We need money to fund operations, to fund development. Having them potentially involved to some degree and bringing money with them, maybe that will go further than the symbolic gesture of kicking them out entirely. This is going to be one of the first courses of action. I would love your feedback, guys. If anything, I've been talking for a few minutes. If you guys want to spend the next 5 minutes, I'd love to hear from the holders. What do you guys think? 1A, kick them, or 1B, maybe work with them, or 1C, let's say something in down the middle. What are your thoughts? Feel free to chime in.
I think this is the hardest point to start with. Sure, kicking out founders could be a relative important message, or a very important message for Web3 people. I don't know how much this will attract new people in. Thinking about the chance that keeping in the founders and give us, I think it's the key to understand if we need them or not. I think some of the founders can be helpful, some other less. I think a middle way could be the best way. I still think that if they want, they can support what left in this project somehow. I don't know. I think about founding, as Pretz said, would be an opportunity for them to restore a little bit of confidence or trust with the community, helping to fund this project. But also, I don't know if in the future we would need in contact or the support of Takashi Murakami. Maybe the founders are the only way we have to pass him some message. So mistakes has been done for sure. I don't know if we maybe need their help somehow in the future, being the people who actually thought about Artifact and CloneX since days one. But I understand as well the idea of at least CTO manifesto, let's say, and so a message to say to the web people, we kick it up founders. So that's my point. But I understand as well the idea.
Okay, just a little heads up. Push to talk has been
So
disabled in this channel, so you may want to mute your mic. That would include Kion. Yep, just Kion. Okay, just a little heads Go ahead. Up. My apologies. I spoke over you. Go ahead if if you had something to say. Okay, no biggie. I totally agree with you, BK. There might be some value in retaining the founders aboard. Maybe we can kind of like have a hybrid model. Maybe we can go in heavy initially. We can kick them out first. Maybe send them a little private message saying, no hard feelings. This is for the best of the project. We need to keep up appearances, but maybe leave room for them to return later or contribute differently later. But for the time being, I do think this is an important first step. But of course, we'll leave this up to a vote among clones before we take any action on this. I lean one way. Others have expressed, in fact, this is one of the most contentious issues. So if you do check out the CloneX CTO discussion in the Discord, you'll see what other holders have already expressed on this matter. Not everybody wants to write them off completely. I completely understand that. If anybody else has anything to add, if not, I can just kind of keep moving along. We'll breeze through this.
My view would be that they should write their own redemption arc, and that, as you said, it should be an out the door first. And if at some point in the future they try and find a way back, that would be the follow-up vote.
Yep, I think that would be the most reasonable approach to this. Anyone else have any feedback on the kick the founders part of the proposal?
I think that flag effects is critical. Not critical, but is more significant or more important than the other one. So it'd be harder to sign off on him because he's contributed a lot from creative. So I don't know.
Yep, BK has said something similar. Clegg could be, one of the more valuable members to keep aboard. And so therefore, maybe we ought to be more selective. Don't have to ban them all.
Yeah.
Maybe, I do know most people seem to, they have favorites among the three founders. So maybe we can afford to be selective. This is all valuable feedback. This is all something we can collaborate on and come to a consensus on in the future. Anybody else have anything else to add on the topic of ejecting the founders?
May I just add something and see if we already spoke about team members which are not founders, which somehow we trust, we can say, because we see that some team members are keep working in order to release interesting stuff for CloneX. So I think it could be a question also to rise to them, which for whom they had a more close relation with the founders, and probably they have even a little bit of a clearer vision about their job and about their ethics. So I do believe that knocking the door of some of the team members we still have a sort of dialogue with in order to ask what do they think about founders could be a valuable feedback for us to just take a little bit more of info in order to take the decision.
I think it's also important to know their current status or their position after the contract. So how much they can indulge, how much they can participate. We still don't know what happened. Some people are giving some rumors about, being paid off, but can they actually participate? Is there a non-disclosure afterwards? Can they? That's something that probably needs to be clarified.
Yep, all good points. I do agree. I mean, I personally don't have any direct line of communication with the original founders, but I am on good terms with guys such as Sam and Connie. They do have lines of communication. So yeah, looping them in, even getting the founders kind of aware of what we're doing, including decisions to eject them beforehand, giving them some heads up, giving them an opportunity to even provide their own feedback is probably a good idea.
Hello.
Yep.
I think we should not continue with founders. To my mind, they have time to show that support or their interest in continue with the community. But maybe I don't follow them enough, but I don't see that in their post or their actions. And also, the Web3 community doesn't like them. Everyone can see the comments whenever they post something. There is always some dude who spread hate toward them. Personally, I have nothing against the founders, but if we want to continue as a community, I think we should separate with them. I get that breaking up can be hard for some people because they founded CloneX after all. But now we try to have another direction, and unless then they publicly talk about their they want to keep in the community, I don't think we should continue with them. They have enough time to show a real support. So this is this is my man about that.
Yep, I would agree with that. They weren't too involved with the community directly before. Is anything really stopping them from getting involved and providing feedback now? The door's open. We'd like to hear from them. If they're listening, please do reach out. Do let us know what you think. If you're a founder and you think you have a role to play with CloneX in the future, do reach out to us. Do let us know what you think. Any other feedback on this topic? Of course, lots of people are providing feedback in the CTO chat in the Discord. So if you do want to leave a message in there, we're collecting all that information. So do let us know. I see a message here from GL in the chat. He says, I don't know if it's been talked about before, but moving forward, I think the next step is making a universal iOS app for CloneX. Understood. Okay, so we will cover that. I'll get back to that as we get into the other part of the white paper. But yes, feedback has been logged. Thank you, sir. GL or GI with the Murakami flower avatar. Let's continue in that case with more of the white paper. All right, next part, I call this the Phase X. This is in no particular order. This is all contingent on funding as well as your endorsement. We got to vote on these topics here. So the first part that we've covered, this is the easy part. Taking control of Discord, easy. Deciding to kick the founders, easy. Rebranding around CloneX, relatively easy. This next section is, this is more of the wish list. At the moment, we really have minimal funds. The way things currently look, we might not be able to execute on any of the following, just simply based on having a lack of resources. But hey, let's dream if we can and cover some of these topics. All right, so a clone cancel, of course, will be one of the first things we have to do, and that's community leadership to be composed of several groups serving the following areas. We need, of course, some kind of leadership. So I propose a brand steward, strategic guide. This can be composed of, one individual or more. More than just serving executive functions, this role will help set the tone and direction of the project. So something maybe of a thought leader, one which resonates with all the holders. This, of course, will be an oversight type role to ensure that decision making respects the core values and key objectives of the CTO. And this includes helping manage voting and ensuring transparency and fairness. So curated pixels, as I mentioned earlier, he developed this site here, CloneX.wtf, and he's already developed or in the process of developing like a voting portal here. So if we do move to voting on chain or voting with your wallets, voting as holders on chain, something like this will be, I guess, would fall under the leadership role, which is to say that we manage the capacity of managing voting and collecting votes, making sure that there's transparency involved and everything's fair. That's part of the leadership. Technical development, we're going to need to assign people responsible for technical direction of the project. This includes smart contract development, marketplace development, token development, and of course that Project Phoenix development. Those are all things that, you're going to need the devs to help output. So going to need to assign some people to technical roles. There's going to be a treasury, of course. This is going to be management of project finances. This will be assigned to a number of trusted community members who will control the treasury wallet via a multi-sig structure. Yes, we're going to have a treasury. We revealed those 5 clones for today, for instance, as treasury assets. I currently just, de facto control the treasury. We're going to move that into a multi-sig structure, maybe as part of a DAO. We will, I guess, vote on or to determine a number of trusted community people, and I guess we can break up the treasury control between them. So yes, we need a treasury as part of the Clone Council. Socials, we need people responsible for managing communications, social media campaigns, community events, someone that's going to gather feedback to better inform us on how to govern, make decisions, and decide the direction of the project. So yes, we need people assigned to socials. It would be great if one of the areas for improvement is going to be outreach and being active on Twitter, on the socials. Going to need people to look after that. And of course, there's another role here called ambassadors, special outreach roles for people with a profile in other Web3 communities, people that can, of course, spread CloneX CTO information, developments to other communities. So high-profile people in other communities, that would be, I guess the Bored Ape people, Penguin people. If you are a high profile holder or any kind of profile holder in those communities, maybe there's going to be room for ambassadors, right? Part of the revival of CloneX will be to have key ambassadors, people that can go out there and say, no, these clone guys are doing it different. They kick the founders, and the CTOs for real. Their heart is in the right place. Someone that can champion the CloneX brand on our behalf in their respective communities. I think ambassadors will be important to spread the message concerning CloneX. All right, so of course, some formalities here. Role assignment will be arrived at via democratic process, still to be determined. We might have on-chain voting, where one clone will provide one vote. So if you own 10 clones, you could have 10 votes, that kind of thing. Or we can have an in Discord token gated poll where one user gets one vote. So regardless of how many clones you own, you're one user in the Discord, you get one vote on the direction of the council. Of course, accountability and performance reviews will be critical. We can reassign people or remove their roles based on your feedback. So even once we get somebody in a council role, that can still be, of course, changed based on feedback or subsequent votes, performance reviews, that kind of thing. All right, so that's the clone council part. I think that's pretty obvious, right, guys? We need to formally kind of structure the CTO and have people in some critical roles. Any feedback on this before I move on? BK?
Good, all good.
Okay, good. Let's
Very
move
clear, very clear, and all good.
on. Good stuff. All right, part 2, dedicated marketplace and restoring royalties. While we're not entitled or able to access the royalties on the contract level, there is one approach that can be used to provide CloneX a revenue stream. At present, buying and selling of clones takes place on marketplaces such as OpenSea, which collects a marketplace fee with every sale. So while you can put 0 for creator royalties on OpenSea, you'll notice that they still take 2.5% on every sale as their own marketplace fee. So what we can do is launch our own dedicated marketplace. We can call it the CloneX Marketplace, and we can charge our own fee on there, say 2.5%, just like OpenSea. And instead of OpenSea taking the 2.5%, those fees would be directed to our treasury. The CloneX Marketplace can also be expanded to serve our creator ecosystem by marketing and selling their creation. So we can encourage and even, host or showcase, I guess would be the right word, showcase the creators and their work on the marketplace, letting other people buy and sell on there to help collect royalties. So this is really one of the few revenue streams that I've conceived of. If we can launch it, other collections have done this. This is not unheard of in Web3, dedicated marketplaces to specific collections. Again, we can't get the royalties on the contract. Those all go to Nike or to whoever. But this is one way to potentially generate a revenue stream. Of course, this is contingent on people actually using this. This might be one thing to build a marketplace. It might be another to actually get people to bring any meaningful volume to it. But realistically, this is one of the only ways I can think of that we could potentially restore royalties. Anybody have any thoughts on the marketplace before I move on?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it is one of those areas, though, that we might want to consider instituting, bringing in the other assets of the ecosystem. Because one thing that most marketplaces don't do very well is give you access to to all the building blocks that were in this ecosystem correctly. The closest one to that, to getting it right, is OpenSea, but Blur doesn't have half the stuff in the right place. So that could be a selling point of this marketplace. If it's just clones and maybe Animus, we could consider that. But it's one thing that's always been an issue with the ecosystem.
Yeah, you're probably right. There's no reason, I know we want to consolidate around CloneX, but if we do have a dedicated marketplace, why not? Let's maybe fold in some of the other parts of the ecosystem that are relevant, especially if that stuff will be useful in, Project Phoenix. I guess that's one of the main areas you could deploy it at. Any other thoughts on the marketplace before I move on?
I think just on that front, that is the relevant bit of it is the 3D files are still attached to all of those assets that people have minted and have hold of for creators to be able to use from footwear to merch drops and things like things like that. If they're using it for non-commercial, just social stuff, but to be discussed.
Some of that stuff is going away in the sense that the skid vials, for instance, those 3D files are downloaded through like the main artifact.com website, so that's going to be sunset. But I guess what the marketplace could do is facilitate not just just buying and selling of those items, those collectibles from the artifact ecosystem, but maybe even allow you to download the 3D assets somehow. We could host the 3D assets along with the listings, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally interesting concept.
But the main idea here is like this is one of the few ways we could potentially restore royalties. If you have any alternative ideas, guys, as to how to restore royalties or to find a revenue stream, any creative ideas on generating revenue streams for CloneX, please do let us know.
Yeah, that's gonna be the key. I mean, without revenue streams, it's gonna be hard to do anything. So I think our biggest effort must be to look for a revenue stream in taking in consideration what we have. So I still believe that creators should be one of the biggest driver of revenue streams, but still we have to be, again, commercially very creative in order to make the creators a revenue stream for both the project and themselves. So I do think that this project have till day one some strengths. So if or when we have to think about revenue streams, we have to think about what's the strength of our community. So that's why I think creators and tools that are already available could be the starting point for one of the revenue streams creation.
Agreed, and that could be done by hosting or showcasing the creators' commissions through the marketplace, where maybe we collect a little bit off their back as a result and put in the treasury. So yes, excellent feedback. Appreciate that. I presume that covered. You guys good? Let's move on to the next part. Again, I'm trying. I know this has already taken a while, so I'm trying to move this quick. All right, next section revolves, of course, around the drip token. Clones have had no greater wishlist item over the years than the dedicated token, and the CTO can finally make the token a reality. Drip, of course, can have a few different uses, but the main one that comes to mind for me is that it's a means of fundraising. But we can potentially offer the drip token as a pre-sale to early backers. We give them a generous allocation. In return, they give us the liquidity we need to, fund our treasury and all our developments. Drip rewards can also be a powerful incentive tool to onboard users to the CloneX marketplace, which we just proposed. So, one reason why would you use the CloneX marketplace over OpenSea? Well, you're collecting drip rewards for listing, buying, and selling. So there's another potential use for drip. Fees collected by the CloneX marketplace can go to funding a drip liquidity pool, so that's another potential avenue for funding the drip liquidity itself. Another potential use for a drip token will be in the absence or in lieu of funds in the CloneX Treasury. So, right now we have minimal funds, but it's possible that we can generate drip out of thin air and offer that in return to compensate creators and developers building key parts of the ecosystem, right? So, that it's better than zero, I suppose, right? In some cases, I expect some developers and contributors to work pro bono, completely free, just the goodness of their heart. But what if we could at least throw them some potentially worthless drip? I still think that might be an incentive to keep people working. In some wild potential future, what if the drip actually becomes worth something? That drip you earned developing and contributing to the CTO, well, it might be handsomely rewarded for that. So that's one idea. Drip rewards could be earned through CloneX staking. Right, so I was thinking something along the lines of Another way to earn drip passively would be some kind of soft staking with clones. That would potentially be DNA based. So similar to how Animus, if you guys remember how the Animus incubation worked, rarer clones, rarer DNAs got a bigger point score. We could do something like that, right? You have a rarer clone, you earn more drip per year if you lock it up or stake it. Something along those lines could be used to earn drip. Clones earning drip could be encouraged to spend it on commissions. Right. So I was thinking something along the lines of have like special events where we're showcasing certain creators. You can pay them in drip, and then as a bonus, we give them, like 2-to-1 on that. So they get 1 drip from the commission, and they get a bonus 1 drip from the treasury, something along those lines. Idea here is that the drip could be a good carrot to kind of continue ahead. Everybody's wanted drip. As soon as word of the CTO spread, you might have noticed most people come in. Their only suggestion is, "Oh, let's do drip. Let's do a token." Tokens are very popular, regardless of how we may feel about them. Regardless of the Ponzi-nomics and the sustainability of tokens, there's no denying that a token is very popular. It's good for the narrative in a sense. I'm not making this a priority item by any means. I'm a firm believer that I'd rather not drop a worthless token that has no future, but it could be a very good carrot to kind of bait people, at least get their interest in, maybe even something as simple as a rumor of, well, there's a CTO at CloneX. Clones will eventually get a drip airdrop. That might be enough to ignite Web3's interest in getting a clone and potentially holding it in the hopes of earning a drip airdrop in the future, however worthless it may be. So there is the road to the drip token. This is all very preliminary. Any thoughts on drip, guys?
I think that you're right in terms of there could be a road to drip, but it's not a push button send drip situation, because then it would be truly useless and worthless.
I know someone, I think it was CO, I think he's still a clone, but I think he mentioned an idea where the allocation can be timed or time based, and so you can still allocate, because a lot of people are just pump and dump. As soon as they claim, they dump the second. I feel like maybe the release of a coin could be better in terms of you can claim, but it can be allocated after a certain amount of time. Like, I don't know, anything to avoid quick dumping or clone dumping, or because people are basically just abusing a token gate to just have access and then just dumping it on people. So
Yep, totally agree.
So maybe like a time-based allocation. Maybe it can confirm an airdrop, but not immediately. That's an idea.
No, definitely. We need to be thinking in that regard. I see a comment here in the chat from GI. He says, if the coin tanks, won't that negatively affect the view of CloneX? Yes, you're absolutely right. It will. As they just touched on, there's just the Ponzi-nomics of these tokens. The price on clones will run up prior to an airdrop, and then the token comes, people dump the tokens, then they dump the clone. You're right. We need to avoid all that. We need to be very sensitive to all that. Obviously, this is very preliminary, but I think myself and many others will all make a commitment to the idea that any token we drop will have to be well thought out, sustainable, and incorporate ideas like the one just mentioned to avoid pump and dumps and just I'm if anyone's been following some of my feedback on the idea of a token, some people have considered me to be anti-token because yes, I agree there's so many pitfalls with a token that I would try to avoid at all costs. So anything we do to plan around this will be to mitigate the all the downsides of a token while trying to capitalize on the upsides of a token. So I think
Have we tried doing an on-chain token, so it doesn't affect liquidity, or it's really just on-chain or within the, let's say, marketplace or within Phoenix?
Yeah, actually, this something in the past when we have been debating a token, that's something I proposed was maybe something that's more locked into a limited ecosystem that isn't necessarily part of a pump and dump on chain with a big liquidity pool. That is certainly something we thought about. These could just be like bonus points or just like credits in your marketplace account. So it could be like a soft token or an off-chain
Yeah,
token.
exactly. A soft token. I've seen people do on-chain, off-chain, and then they use Polygon or something on L2 just for gas to avoid that gas issue as well. But having an on-chain would avoid those gas.
Yep, I agree. And
I
GI
don't
go ahead.
No, I don't know. I mean, I'm probably a bit anti-token, but because I'm not an expert, and I always thought that tokens are our assets, like clones or animals. So I never really understood the idea of a project token, apart of being part of a very big Ponzi scheme, which I don't know. I would understand a token in a moment where a real internal economy is built up. So a token, it's a need. Without that, it seems really something that is just made to pump and dump.
And liquidity would be
I'm not
important as well.
sorry.
Liquidity as well.
Yeah, liquidity, but liquidity should be coming from an economy, not just from something we put there. Liquidity has to be
Managed or controlled.
managed, but also done continuously. So an economy, if I don't know, if metaverse would be a thing, and so a real economy of an ecosystem will be born, I understand the token idea. Without that, I think it's something, I don't know, I was looking closely also at Zuki. I mean, for sure, some holders made money, but then dropped the original assets because they made money with the token. So the floor went a third, if not a fourth, compared to when the token was released. So I don't see. I mean, I see the potentiality for each holder for such a project like Azuki to make money with the token launch. I don't see the real positive side for the project unless especially with the in the condition we are now, where an ecosystem has to be completely rebuilt, and so the token has no foundation. I don't know how to explain. Maybe I mean, speaking my English
No, you're
is not
totally right.
clear enough, but I don't know. Again, if token, I don't know if token, or again, we can link with creators or with something that creators can provide via token. But I don't know, why not Ethereum? I mean, why not? I don't know, but really, not being an expert, I will follow the community consensus for sure. I'm sure
There's
there are
no point sending a
experts.
token from a sinking ship.
Yep, I totally agree. And I'm with you guys on this one. I think we're mostly on the same page. Got to be very sensitive to this matter. I don't believe in the Ponzi-nomics either. For me, right now, this is really just like serves a practical purpose to the narrative, right? It might not be so much as the token itself, but the prospect of a future token might be good just to get word swirling in Web3. Not so much that we will actually execute on the token that will be something that people can dump into and raid liquidity on. I agree. These are all pitfalls that I would love to avoid. So this is if I were to rank the drip token in terms of priorities, it would be very, very low. Like I said, it mostly serves a narrative, just to remain open to the idea of a token, and only once, of course, the fundamentals are are in place. I totally agree. All right, so that's Drip Talk. I think we all on the same page. Let's keep it. Only a couple more things I want to cover here today. CloneX Treasury, a dedicated asset pool that will fund development and ensure long-term sustainability. The pool of assets can include both clones and tokens, right? So we can have clones in the treasury as well as, Ethereum. Currently, I'm kind of controlling the treasury, as I mentioned earlier, but we want to move this eventually to a multi-sig or DAO governance. The first few assets were donated by Benito. He sent me 5 Mint Vials, 5 Mint Vials, 25 Monoliths, and 25 Space Pods. I'd like to inform you guys, I've already liquidated the Monolith X, and the Space Pods were all bought at some point recently. Not a significant amount of money between the pods and the monolith, but hey, there's a small fraction of ETH that's been added to the treasury thanks to Benito's contribution, as well as those 5 clones. Some clones have suggested a donation campaign in which we pool our respective anime drops and send them to the treasury. Yeah, this was a cool idea. I figured we just put this in here. No obligation, of course. The anime drop was open to clone holders as well. And someone suggested, well, why don't we just take that nearly worthless airdrop at this point? I think it's, well, whatever it is. Take our anime and put it all in the treasury. Something to think about. Let's get that anime in the CloneX Treasury, and it might even help build some bridges with the Azuki community, right? It might be a great part of a lot of this is about fostering a narrative. And what better narrative than, well, CloneX is doing the CTO, and CloneX is what we call in collaboration, we're in solidarity, I'd say, in solidarity with the Azuki and the anime community. They're collecting their anime airdrop and they're putting it in the CloneX Treasury. I think that's good for narrative and spreading the news of the CTO to Azuki and beyond. That is the treasury part. Any thoughts on the treasury, guys?
I think it's a great idea to take anime tokens that I'm happy to put in all of mine, because it shows that, just while we're doing this CTO, we're also not dumping, they didn't have to give anime to the rest of the communities that they did. And so I think it does show a great solidarity within the anime community, and I'm very happy to support that.
Agreed. Anybody else have any thoughts on the treasury or maybe the anime contribution?
Anime contribution is easy and good. Sorry.
Okay, just to say, I think it's also a good indicator of how the community can contribute. So we will see how much will be contributed, and yes, I think it will help Arno to because if we can raise some funds from the community, maybe as a starter for the DAO, maybe by making a pre-sale for allowing to the believers and the member involved in the CTO to have a good price on some token, some drip token can help raise fund and give an opportunity for Bolivar also.
All right, fair. All right, that's treasury time. Let's move on to the next section, CloneX DAO. Setting up a DAO will be a priority to properly secure the treasury and decentralized administration of CloneX. So if where drip is a very low priority, low likelihood of coming into fruition anytime item, the CloneX DAO is a more high priority item. And of course, we do have this treasury that we're discussing right now. And the best way to properly secure it and decentralize its administration would be through a DAO. We can start with a multi-signature setup for initial control, where trusted community members are signers trusted with executing transactions. So if we don't want to, get too crazy with a big DAO contract, maybe just a simple multi-sig gentleman's agreement between a select few trusted members is the way to go, at least for the immediately kicking this off in the future. We can decentralize this, of course, further in the future by allowing clones to vote on proposals where voting weight is proportional to their CloneX holding. So 1 vote per clone, for instance, would be a way to go. So if we have a DAO, if you'll get 1 vote per clone. This is kind of a standard format among DAOs. That's something to think about. Simple day-to-day operations may not require DAO voting, while strategic or major decisions will go through a broader token-based on-chain vote. Small stuff, guys, we don't necessarily need to go through a DAO. In fact, the DAOs and on-chain governance has low participation rates in most cases. A lot of people can't be bothered to take out their wallet and go sign a vote message. So, maybe small stuff doesn't need to go through a DAO. Small things, we can go and do a poll in the Discord, get your feedback as to, more minutia. But the bigger, more strategic planning can be done more officially through on-chain governance. That would be it for the DAO discussion. Look forward to launching a CloneX DAO in the future. Any thoughts on the CloneX DAO?
I think you just need the structure in place to ratify large consequential movements in the community in order for transparency and input to be taken. But day to day and smaller things should be kept as light and informal as possible. I think it would be a good problem to have if the community grew back to a size that was too big for an informal structure to sustain.
Yep, I can vibe with that. Excellent feedback. All right, let's continue along. I want to wrap this up in the next few minutes. Only a couple more items to quickly cover. Lore building. Okay, so something else that's relatively lightweight to accomplish in the future. That will be building out the lore. The CloneX CTO will aim to address one of the most underdeveloped areas of CloneX by exploring their origin story with an exciting new tale featuring a universe-scale drama that injects Web3 inspired themes. This is mostly my contrivance, guys. I've noticed that people such as Tevi, if you know Tevi in particular, has always lamented the lore, the lack thereof within CloneX. Lore was supposed to be a strong part of the CloneX, presentation, part of the whole brand. Well, I feel that was a little underdeveloped. So one of the main things we can potentially tackle in the CTO is developing the lore itself, make a new story, let's leave it at that, right? Make a new CloneX universe. Let's write a story around it. If it's exciting enough, maybe we can storyboard an anime or manga type of thing. If it's really exciting, if the lore really becomes so compelling of a story, heck, maybe we can even fund like a more of a full length motion picture type of presentation, right? My mind always goes to Ali Al-Asadi. He already made that shorter CloneX universe. He called it the CloneX verse film. What if we could somehow expand that? What if we had a really compelling story that dives into the world, the universe of the clones, that we'd actually want to put into like a longer form video, like an actual motion type picture, right? A real longer form animation. That's one of my dreams or wish list items. Maybe one day we can collaborate with someone like Ali again, and bring the clones to life in a longer form video. So yes, lore building is all part of that dream, and I think at the very least, writing out a story, storyboarding a story, expanding the universe on paper is relatively easy. Not going to require much. It's a low cost effort, right? Very low resource intensive effort. So lore building is something I think we can all be excited to build on. Any thoughts?
One of the big thing to decide there is whether it's a fresh start. I know that there's been a lot of people that also would love to maintain the core of the bit of established lore that there is based around the Exodus storyline. And so, that becomes part of it. And then I think that people can also creatively spin off the storylines for their own clones as they see fit. But it would be great to, as you said, develop a common thread to the cloniverse, as it were.
Yep, I can feel it. Yep, that's some of the feedback we've gotten is that as thin and scant as the existing lore is, try to fold it into whatever we expand. So rather than just discarding it, build on it. I got that. I feel that. And that is the lore part. Let's continue. One of the last sections.
I believe that this part, the last section you just mentioned, is like one of the most important part in terms of not marketing, but in terms of keep saying what CloneX is and what our ecosystem was born for. So from my point of view, this idea, a part of the subject, so to keep the storyline or update or totally renew the storyline, I think one of the mandatory argument is really to keep working and sending out those kind of assets, like you mentioned what Ali did. So my point of view is that part of the founding and maybe the first funds should be used to regroup the creators we used to have in our ecosystem and work with them and let them work together to provide outstanding assets like videos and to keep going with the storyline and to show why CloneX is another kind of asset compared the average NFTs or collectibles around. So I think this is really one of the key, if not the key, asset CloneX has versus the rest of the NFTs and digital collectibles. So my point of view is that first focus should be how to keep sending out amazingly done content from creators. This should be the first question. And how to bring back Ali, how much does it cost?
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly, it's the most important thing. I think one video that represents our feeling, and I agree everything in what you're saying. I just want to add to that.
Yeah, this is too important. I mean, what we should avoid to do is to try to change the root of CloneX. I mean, we are not able to do so. So I also link this a bit with this delicate argument about founders, not founders, is that what we should avoid, and okay, no, let's keep founders apart. What we should avoid is to transform. I mean, I understand evolve, but already maintain the root of CloneX with our singular effort could be a huge achievement, huge achievement. So I think we must also not lose enough our strength or effort in something that it's too far from what has been built till now. I think we really have to look why CloneX was so special, and it's easy to find, and work on that, and also spend resources on that. I mean, build on what has been already been built, and not just go far for the sake of going far, because we have to also be very honest with ourselves. Founders did a disaster, it's true, but still they created something for which thousands of people went crazy for. So, and no one of us did the same. So let's try to balance and really always remember why we probably are all here. What was the CloneX aspect that drive us here?
Yep, I feel that. All right, let's just quickly get the last couple items covered. All right, 2D clone. The much-awaited 2D update for the CloneX collection was nearly completed. 2D assets are said to be completely illustrated, so it's partially been completed. The only remaining work left on this is the time-consuming final composition quality control stage. So my understanding is that the 2D clones are pretty much complete. There is a bit of a grueling task of actually doing the final composition. So that's something we can potentially work on. The CTO will aim to acquire the orphaned 2D asset library and complete the remaining work necessary to deliver on the new 2D clone collection. The CloneX marketplace would aim to integrate the new 2D clones into the overall presentation of the collection, which would otherwise be missing on the other marketplaces. So as you guys know, Animus has got 2D, 3D art, but that's built into the Animus on like the contract level, right? Because the CloneX collection is basically being wrapped, we can't exactly go and, even if we have the 2D clones, we can't integrate them into the presentation on OpenSea the way that Animus, for instance, does it. So one potential way to make the CloneX marketplace that much more exciting will be to incorporate 2D clones into the presentation on there as well. I think this is one of the areas that would probably be well served by dedicating. Hopefully, we can get this done for next to free. Maybe I know I'm willing to work on compiling 2D clones, but we might have to pay people as well to help put this together. 2D clones, I think, are a high priority item if we can, in fact, get our hands on the 2D asset library and, yes, bring them potentially to the new marketplace, right? So not only will the marketplace feature clones, you can even see the new 2D clones on this new marketplace. That's my thinking. Any thoughts on 2D clones?
Yeah, if the assets are there and they'll relinquish them, it'd be great to get them. I spoke to Sam the other day. He's going to give an informal update the first week in February once he's back where he needs to be, about where we are with everything from Phoenix to V3s to everything on his technical side. So we'll wait to hear from him as well.
Well, there you have it. Any other thoughts on 2D clones?
Are the 2D
So
clones from Hondore, or that? I think there was a clone doing fan art for for a lot of the clones. Is it from the same artist? Is it the same art that some of us already have, or are these completely different art?
The answer is kind of in the middle. Hondore, I think he took the base of what was originally teased. So the answer is that no, Artifact was working on an actual 2D clone update, and they completed most of the work on that. They've pretty much illustrated all of the 2D art, and the only thing that really remained was compiling the art into the because it's generative, so it takes a little bit of massaging all the layers to make things look right. So there's a bit of quality control involved. So it's not just finishing the the illustration, you also have to quality control it, so it's kind of incomplete at the quality control stage, which is pretty far along. The art you've seen by Honduras is based on some of the 2D art teas, because they teased like a number of them, if you guys remember. If you just go up to the announcements channel and scroll up a bunch, you'll see some of the clones were presented in the 2D style. Some of the holders got an early preview sent to them of their clone.
Yeah.
So the answer is it's based on it's actually Artifact that illustrated some bitchin' new 2D clones that's left incompleted. The art you've seen by Honduras is kind of roughly based on that concept, but it's his own work to some degree.
Yeah. So now we think that 2D clones are going to be completely separated assets and probably not NFTs from our original clones. Because I understood that, I don't know, from Sam or someone, that they were going to provide still with 2D clones, but when I asked how you're gonna distribute them, there was no answer. Do you have any insight on that? Because maybe it's isn't it a bit dangerous to have the 2D clone as a separate asset from the original one? I don't know, like 2BK will exist and 2 Prats and so on.
No, I agree. I'm not. I can't really speak on what they've planned. I spoke to Connie, and he told me that, well, kind of what I explained here, that they're stuck at the QC level, and my impression was at best what they'll be able to do is release or open source the 2D asset library, and then it'll be up to us to complete the quality control. I don't think issuing them as NFTs. Parallel to the main collection is a good idea. My suggestion would be, if we launch our own marketplace, we can have something that's pretty much identical to the way Animus is currently presented, where you can flip between the 2D and the 3D presentation. That won't be possible on the marketplaces, but it would be something that we can probably integrate into our own dedicated marketplace.
I think
So
the
2D
idea was
clones,
originally
exaggerating. So, but exaggerating, we could say that if they release 2D clones, we can have like a sort of CTO project with all the 2D clones.
There'll be like some
So,
kind
like, can we mint it?
I think minting might be a more delicate matter. In the end, I think you could probably mint them individually. Can we mint them as a one centralized effort? I think there's going to be some inherent risks in that, and I don't know if that will really be necessary.
Wouldn't it be cool?
I guess. I guess it would be in the sense to you have something in your wallet to reflect the 2D clone. But for me, at least, the way I perceive them right now is they're just going to be a cool bonus, just be a bonus that we can help distribute.
All right.
But it's just going to be a JPEG you right click and save and use as your PFP, and they won't really compete or live on chain alongside your main clone. But I guess this is all still in the air, and it's not even guaranteed that we're going to get our hands on the 2D asset library. I do know that some effort is being made to make it available to us, and I hope they can execute on that.
Yeah, it was originally going to be the same as Animus, where you could flip back and forth. But my understanding is that on their way out the door, they have to relinquish and close the CloneX original contract, so they can't add it in, even though it's almost done. And the other question that's come up is, so only these 4 Murakami Pill DNA clones are going to be V3 clones in 3D, and everybody else is staying as V2. But those files they're trying to get out to us as well.
Yep, some stuff is in the air.
V3? You said V3?
Yeah, do you mean V2? Like the V2 3D models?
Well, I heard V3.
I know he says V. he says V3. My understanding, I'm assuming what he means is like the V2 3D model.
Sorry, I meant V2.
Yep.
I meant V2.
Which are kind of already available in the Project Phoenix asset package, so you could always potentially get them from there. But yeah, maybe a more formal distribution portal at some point would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the 2D presentation being really within our marketplace or gallery, I guess, or there can be a section for gallery. I've seen a lot of NFT projects have kind of a gallery, and then I think the Azuki kind of has one too. Galverse has one. Basically, a gallery where you can kind of just filter through whatever clones. I think our gallery would be something like a gaming 3D gallery, and then also have the options to view JPEGs at the same times. I don't know if that's something.
Yeah, potentially something to, I guess, discuss in the future.
Have you guys spoke about a gallery or a gallery version? It's pretty much the same version that what Darlin has on his.
Right. Exactly. Something like Project Phoenix, just that you could view it in your browser potentially, right? So rather than just opening your clone in a dedicated UE5 environment, you could maybe open and preview your clone in a web browser type.
Exactly.
Yep, something to consider. Maybe part of the offering on the potential future marketplace, something to think about. All right, last couple items, guys. I won't keep you much longer. AI agent, something to potentially look forward to is X-Artifact CTO Samuel Cardillo is, of course, working toward a dedicated AI agent protocol that can utilize and showcase CloneX avatars. As you guys may know, he is working ongoing work on a project called Kaya. He's described it as a, quote, open source framework for VTubing that's powered by AI agents. So he's teased, if you've been following him closely, he's teased bringing clone avatars to his new VTubing powered AI agent platform called Kaya. Something to look forward to. It seems like most of the development or the involvement will be on his end. So I don't know how much we will have to contribute to this or trouble ourselves with. But something to look forward to is potential AI agent clone avatars, thanks to the work of Samuel on this new project of his. So there's some potential CloneX integration there. All right, let's also talk about Project Phoenix. Thanks to salvage efforts by Yarlin, the app formerly known as Inventory was open source and released to the community. It's based on the latest UE5 technology, and the open framework opens the door to community creators to build gaming or other real-time 3D experiences. Yarlin continues to contribute updates and ongoing development to Project Phoenix, but to ensure longer-term commitment to Phoenix by Yarlin or any other developer for that matter, some degree of resources may have to be allocated. So, Yarlin might only work out of the kindness of his heart for so long. We may need to shift some resources to keep him interested in building on Phoenix if we think it's something worthwhile. But Phoenix is also open for anyone to build on thanks to being open sourced. The CTO can throw their support and funding behind a particular development goal if a worthy one is proposed. So if like another budding developer kind of appears and has an exciting idea on what to build out of Phoenix, out of the Phoenix framework, we could potentially, have a vote and agree, well, you know what, this sounds like a great idea. Let's put our resources behind developing, so on and so forth. One such example would be like a free-to-play game deployed to the Epic Game Store that could be marketed to and attract a mainstream gaming audience. I think this would be like the dream item. It's extremely costly and difficult to actually develop a dedicated game, so I don't know if this would be possible. But I just, as a wish list item, as a dream item, imagine somehow turning Phoenix into an actual playable game, something that would even appear in the Epic Game Store that would actually attract a gaming audience. I think that would be awesome. And if at that point, imagine being able to bring the creator economy items to the game. So instead of having normal DLC that's released by the developer, imagine DLC in this new game that's more creator economy driven. So our creators create wearables and DLC for the game. And maybe this is where drip could actually have a functional role within an in-game economy if we actually developed a game with any kind of following that has creator-driven economy around it. Drip could factor into that. So just something to think about for the potential future, deep future of Project Phoenix.
Are you familiar with the Visionverse or Vision?
Yeah, vaguely.
I believe he has a beta that's actually completed. I think he completed it in January, or December, I believe. And he mentioned has small talk. He mentioned he might launch it or debut it, and which will be token gated, I believe. But yeah, that's something that I think he'll be giving out for free, from my understanding. I know it's not related to Phoenix, but that's something maybe we can direct or consult.
Yeah, that are there are other Web3 gaming projects or other similar things being built out there that are built on Unreal Engine. So yeah, maybe the future is going to be the cross collaboration, right? The framework of Phoenix can maybe make it easier for other Web3 games or such things to incorporate clones into them. So that's another potential avenue.
I think that game in the future could be amazing, but we all know how hard it is to build a proper game. But I mean, would be amazing. But on the first point, like to have some funds to dedicate to developers such as Harlan, I believe it's fundamental. I mean, again, similar to the point I was speaking before, building on what we have is key. So to keep such a great developers as Arlan in the loop is fundamental. And I agree, he's not going to work for free for a long time. So we need to found funds to dedicate to some developers who's gonna help us to keep going in what we have and develop further. It's too important. I mean, Project Phoenix is something we must build on. It's really what in this moment again differentiate clones from everything else. So very important. This is my point of view.
I think that there should be a couple updates of that push because I know they were still working on getting all of the male avatars in. The females were in, but none of the males were, and so hopefully we should in the next week or two get another version.
Yeah, he seems to be pushing consistently updates to it. Like BK mentioned, that might not be forever though, so we might need to provide some resources or financial incentive to keep him going. So I put this higher up on the priority list of things that we need to maybe focus on is going to be the Phoenix development or funding it to some degree or another. An actual dedicated game, that's more of a far cry, but we'll see where we go.
Yeah, I think there's two aspects of Project Phoenix. Once the bones of it are complete, that would be really useful for the community. One is the creator side of it, and maybe that starts with people building out some sets that can be imported and then other people can work within. And then the other is the ability to export your clones out of there in various formats that you can take to places like Other Side or these other universes that exist so that they can be used outside of Phoenix because they have to leave that engine.
I agree 100%.
Yep, good point. That could probably be its more practical utility first and foremost before anything else. I agree. All right, last couple items. CloneX World Tour. Many in the community, of course, expressed disappointment in the lack of locally organized activities for holders. The CTO may aim to support local meets organized in your area by helping assign regional ambassadors, provide visibility to your events via our Discord and the socials, and other resources where possible. Small scale coffee shop or pub type of engagements or gatherings may be encouraged as a cost effective solution. This is something I came up with just because I did notice, amidst all the fallout, one of the common complaints was like, "Oh man, you guys never came to my city. How come you never did an event here or there?" Right? Seems I was actually surprised to see how many people commented on being disappointed in and not having a local CloneX event in their area. So hey, why not take this upon ourselves? Maybe assign regional ambassadors, people who want to do even very, very small scale local events where they can invite local clones to do, coffee or beer. Something to think about, and maybe even dedicate a small fraction of resources to supporting, at the very least, throw our moral support behind them. The CloneX World Tour, everybody. Maybe it'll come to your town.
We can start off by doing local meetups to like sneaker cons or similar events that are renowned, I guess, and I guess start from there.
Yep. It might just involve, just organizing and publishing these types of events, to get the ball rolling. It really doesn't need to be like a very costly affair or anything like that. Small pop-ups that are managed by people on the ground in your local region, that would be great. Just something I thought I'd add in there. Finally, creator contracts. CloneX marketing campaigns can be outsourced to creators to help generate content that goes on to flood the timeline and deliver views. Popular examples such as Alasadi's Ready Set Pose series or the CloneX Studio Generative Art got holders involved in actively posting, but rarely fairly rewarded. So limited scale creator contracts could be extended to fulfill a need for future marketing campaigns. For instance, you got Valentine's Day coming up, right? So imagine a small creator contract where someone like Alasadi or another gentleman would be paid to create a series of works for the February 14th for Valentine's Day, and then that would go on to be like a marketing campaign that we could push on the official socials. So occasions in which, maybe we can dole out a little bit of money to a creator to create a series of works that becomes that week's or that month's marketing campaign, built around, big events on the calendar, something to that effect. Thinking of ways where, one of the complaints, I guess, was that creators don't get enough official support. Creators work their heart out to create a cool series of works, but never really got properly compensated for it, something like that. So I'm not implying that we subsidize creator activity. Just maybe occasionally throw a few bucks at a creator who's willing to step up and create some kind of works that go on to, to trend that week, something along those lines. Any thoughts on?
I think it's a lovely idea in concept, until that there's fundamentals and an actual war chest is not something that could kind of be really looked at. Until that point, it's got to all come from the ground and from the trenches.
Agree. This is the final list item, and indeed, if anything, I should kind of rank these things. I was thinking about adding little stars next to each one of these items, like a 5 rank for high priority things and a single star for low rank things. This is indeed toward the bottom, but hey, it was an idea compiled in the big CTO white paper. Figure I'd put it there. As part of this was to address, complaints and shortcomings of the prior administration. So, figure I would put that out there. And like I mentioned earlier, not everything on this list, particularly this section labeled Phase X, is going to be something we can really execute or deliver on. Well, that's it, guys. We've covered the white paper. Thanks for everybody kicking it with us for the last hour, almost, hour and a half-ish. I do appreciate that so much. I appreciate all the feedback. Of course, we got the CTO channel for discussion in the Discord, so be sure to hop in there, voice any feedback. The white papers are linked in there. You can go check them out, give them an overview yourself, and provide feedback wherever. Just let me know. We're gonna pace ourselves. A lot of this might be overwhelming. This is a lot to digest at once, and so it's like a long road ahead. We're gonna pace ourselves. There's no need to rush through many of these things. We're just gonna take things one at a time. One step will be rebrand around CloneX, rebrand the Discord. Everything else is going to be a slow process of finding the funds and resources and allocating them and building it out. So much of this is going to take time to execute on, if at all. But the small things that we began with should be doable, and we'll probably see coming up in the coming days and weeks.
Thank you, Brett.
Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for arranging all this.
Effort.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, very much.
And of course, if we missed anybody, if you're watching the replay on YouTube later, we're going to do more. Probably going to do another few sessions like this so we can incorporate other people. So this arrived at a time not conducive for everybody. So we're going to do another one in another time zone and another one in another time zone. Probably one on Twitter. Got to do a Twitter Spaces recapping all this. So we're going to rehash this over and over. So I appreciate everybody who joined us this time around. We're going to do this again to feature other clones, get other people in here. Like I said, this is going to be an ongoing conversation. This is not the last one. So I appreciate everybody who was here for the first one. Look forward to having more of you guys join us for future such conversations. Appreciate all the feedback in the chat. I do see all the comments in the CloneX voice chat room here. Appreciate the feedback. Everything's been noted. Everyone's contribution is valuable. Thank you.